Welcome to OJ Studios. Please enjoy this week's chapter of Bethany by Olivia Julius. Chapter 1 The Class Bully. Present day. Nathan Reed glanced around the corner of the empty hallway trying to keep calm but alert. He had to remind himself to breathe normally. Getting out of the school wouldn't be easy if he was also hyperventilating. The hallway should be lined with teachers, all of them should be outside their rooms monitoring the hallways. Nathan wondered where they were. This was giving him a very bad feeling, but Nathan just had to ignore it and get to the door. Nathan needed to get to the other side of the hallway so that he could get out of one of the school's side exit that led to the back of the school where he could easily leave unnoticed. He prayed that Tyler and his gang wouldn't catch him, but he knew that his butt was in trouble after the look that Tyler gave him during recess. Nathan told his teacher about their latest engagement, a feat that Nathan hoped to end Tyler's bullying but instead it increased it. Tyler was questioned and then he lied about his involvement. In the end he was let out of the office after promising to stay away from Nathan. That really didn't help Nathan at all. Tyler is looking for you. Nathan's best friend Alex said, scaring Nathan half to death. Do you know where he is? Nathan asked, looking back around the corner. No. Alex said cautiously. Nathan looked around to make sure there was no sign of Tyler and then bolted down the hallway to the school's exit. He knew if he could get down there Mrs. Quinton, the elementary school principal, would be outside where the buses were loading kids and Nathan could safely watch as Tyler boarded his bus to go home. Nathan opened the door and to his horror he saw Tyler and his gang waiting at the door. Nathan quickly reacted by turning around and sprinting down the hallway trying to find an open classroom where he could hide. For being only 8, Nathan was amazingly fast for his age. But unfortunately, not fast enough as one of the gang members. He darted into Mrs. Jacobs' kindergarten room and the gang followed him. He hoped that Mrs. Jacobs would be in her classroom, but instead she was also gone. One of Tyler's gang caught Nathan's arms and forced him to the ground and making him cry out in pain. Tyler walked around the two boys laughing at Nathan's failed attempt to flee from him. Pick him up! Tyler ordered. 2 of his minions picked the struggling Nathan up off the ground and held him so he couldn't move. Another member shoved Alex into the room and forced him to stand by Nathan. All the attackers were in the 5th grade, so it was easy for them to push around the 2 smaller 3rd graders. Tyler was the biggest out of them all and could easily squash Nathan's small slender frame like a bug. Don't worry Nathan! Tyler began, I had 2 buddies of mine fake a fight. All the teachers went out there to separate the 2. So, no one will bother us as we do business. Nathan didn't say anything. He just struggled as the 2 older, and stronger boys held on to him. You know, you did me a huge favor, you helped me realize that no matter what kind of butt kicking I give you the teachers still will only believe me. Tyler said with a little chuckle. Nathan didn't say a word and instead prayed that this would end soon, and that Tyler would be caught this time around. You know, since you provided me with this service, I feel I should give you a gift. Tyler said, kicking Nathan in the balls causing Nathan to double over in pain. You know Nathan, I really do have a gift for you. Tyler said. Nathan bared down and awaited another blow from him, but instead he was shocked that Nathan was holding out a tube of liquid. As you may know, my father is a chemist over at the research lab across town. Yesterday I got to see his experiment and I even got to sweat the chemical that he was working on. He shook the tube violently in front of Nathan, letting him see the chemical dance around inside the tube. I saw them giving this thing to the apes up there with interesting results, so I can't wait to see what this does to you. He said, smiling down at him. Nathan tried to get away, but the 2 older boys were too strong for him. Another boy came up and held Nathan's head and forced him to open his mouth. Nathan struggled to get out of the way as he watched Tyler unscrew the cap and drain the liquid into his mouth. The boy holding Nathan's throat closed his mouth and forced him to swallow the liquid. That should teach you to tattletale on me. Tyler said, spinning around. He snapped his fingers and the boys dropped Nathan and Alex on top of each other. Nathan instantly felt weird and turned over to his stomach, coughing and strained to take a breath. He felt strange and he couldn't see right. He tried to pick himself up, but instead he collapsed onto the cold, hard floor. "Nathan, are you okay?" Alex asked, kneeling over Nathan. After a couple of big gasps of air, Nathan passed out, leaving Alex crying and screaming for a teacher to help his friend. Alex's desperate cries echoed through the empty classroom as he knelt beside his unconscious friend, Nathan. Panic surged through Alex as he frantically looked around for any sign of help. He wished he could be stronger, older, able to protect Nathan from the torment they had just experienced. Tears streamed down his cheeks, mixing with the sweat and dirt on his face. During the commotion, Mrs. Quinton, the principal, happened to walk by. Her keen ears caught the sound of a distressed voice. Following the sound, she quickly pushed open the door to Mrs. Jacobs' kindergarten classroom and her heart sank at the scene before her. Two boys, clearly in distress, lay on the floor while Alex wept beside them. Without hesitation, Mrs. Quinton rushed to their side, immediately assessing the situation. Her stern exterior melted into concern as she placed a reassuring hand on Alex's shoulder. "It's going to be okay," she whispered. Mrs. Quinton quickly radioed for the school nurse and security, requesting their presence in the kindergarten classroom. Within moments, the school nurse arrived with a first aid kit, followed by the security personnel who had been alerted to the incident. Together, they gently examined Nathan and Alex, ensuring their safety and well-being. The nurse checked Nathan's vitals while reassuring Alex that help was there. As the nurse tended to Nathan, Mrs. Quinton knelt beside Alex, her voice gentle. "Alex, can you tell me what happened? What led to this situation?" Amidst his tears, Alex managed to convey the events that had transpired: Tyler's bullying, the chase down the hallway, and the encounter in the classroom. Mrs. Quinton listened attentively, her expression growing graver with each detail. She knew that the situation was serious, and immediate action was required. After making sure Nathan was stable, the nurse nodded to Mrs. Quinton. "I'll take Nathan to the nurse's office and monitor him closely. We should also inform his parents about what happened." Mrs. Quinton agreed, offering a reassuring smile to Alex. "You did the right thing by seeking help, Alex. Your bravery is commendable." With Nathan being carefully transported to the nurse's office, Mrs. Quinton turned her full attention to Alex. She helped him sit in a nearby chair and handed him a tissue to wipe his tears. "I'm going to contact both of your parents and let them know what's going on," she said gently. "I want you to stay here for a moment while I do that, okay?" Alex nodded, still shaken by the events that had unfolded. Mrs. Quinton left the room briefly to make the necessary phone calls, ensuring that both Nathan and Alex's parents were informed and on their way to the school. As the minutes passed, Alex's anxiety began to subside, replaced by a growing sense of safety. Mrs. Quinton returned to the classroom and sat down beside him. "Alex, I've spoken to both sets of parents, and they're on their way. They care about you and Nathan very much." Alex looked up at her, his eyes red from crying. "I just want Nathan to be okay," he said, his voice quivering. Mrs. Quinton placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. "We're doing everything we can to ensure Nathan's well-being. The nurse is with him now, and your parents will be here soon."